fans, welcome to the Rearview Mirror UFC Fight Night 110 post-fight show. My name is Flyin Brian J. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to unpack some of the action that we just watched, or most of it. I like to give a WTF of the card, and it feels like you guys like it most when I give a WTF of the card that's positive. So I was trying to think of my WTF of the card as we went on. Of course, what just happened in the main event of UFC Fight Night 110, or hashtag UFC Auckland, was Mark Hunt put on a near magnificent performance against Derek the Black Beast Lewis. He officially got the TKO at 351 of round number 4. So during the main event, I was thinking about my WTF of the card. I was going to give the WTF of the card to Mark Goddard for a phenomenal stoppage. I really liked the stoppage in the main event there, calling the TKO off because Derek wasn't fighting back for mostly the later part of the third round, the fourth round at all. So great stoppage for Mark Goddard, showing why he's one of the best in the business, in the sport. But I decided to give the WTF of the card to Derek Lewis. We'll talk about Mark Hunt in a second, and also fighters retiring all of a sudden. Josh Rochelle's asked in the comment section, do I think that's Lewis' last fight? My initial reaction is no, that is not Lewis's last fight. But continuing with the WTF, I'm just like, because recently Rumble retired after a loss, and now Derek Lewis is retiring after a loss. He was on, a 6-fight winning streak, 7-fight winning streak, and now he's retiring. To get back to your question, Josh, I think that might be the last time he fights. He's talked about in the past he doesn't like fighting. He doesn't like to put his body through it. He doesn't like to put his family through it, the stress that they have to go through to watch him and to be away from them for training camp and put his life on the line for fighting. He said that in the past in interviews, and he said that he reiterated that tonight in his post-fight interview. I do think that might be the last time we see him fight. If he does have that lingering back injury, then maybe. Jimmy Ryan Evans said Lewis looked injured by the 4th round. Yeah, he was super slow at the end of round 2. He was throwing a bunch of jumping, flying knees, a bunch of left high kicks, and for a man that weighs, as Brian Stan said, probably 280 pounds in the octagon tonight, yeah, that would take a lot of energy, but then he probably hurt his back too by jumping a whole bunch. And they said that he did a box jump onto the canvas yesterday, just messing around. That's probably not good on your low back if you have a low back injury, Derek Lewis. So anyway, could be the last time we see Derek Lewis fight. Eamon Scott's here to rub it in. It's beyond me. He says it's beyond me how anyone thought Lewis was going to win that. Yeah, I mean, after watching it, it's pretty plain and simple. How the hell was Lewis going to win that fight? He went for a couple of takedowns, easily stuffed by Mark Hunt. I got a frog in my throat. Sorry, folks. So Lewis went for a couple of takedowns, but Mark was walking Lewis back to the fence, getting that left hook off on Lewis a lot, hurt him. I believe it was in round number 2. Lewis was on wobbly legs, his eyes rolled in the back of his head, and he looked like, wow, that was a punch I'd never felt before in my life. And Mark just calmly kept walking him down, kept hitting him with left hook, right straight, left hook, right straight, uppercut, when Lewis would roll out to try to circle off the cage. Magnificent performance from Mark Hunt. Wow, hats off to him. My biggest thought now is what's next. Not only what's next for Mark Hunt with who he's going to fight. Eamon Scott thinks Mark Hunt versus Francis Ngannou. I was going to say Mark Hunt versus JDS, but I forgot Ngannou's facing JDS next. So there's 2 guys right there. If we're looking at the rankings, Stipe, Fabricio, Kane, Alistair, JDS, Francis, Derek, Mark. So Stipe out of the question, right? Alistair, Mark Hunt just lost to him. Derek Lewis just beat him. JDS and Francis are booked. So what's next? Cain Velasquez? Who knows if he could even make it to a fight? I was thinking, Mark in his post-fight interview, he said that since he feels like he's going to keep doing this, he wants to fight somebody who's above him in the rankings. I don't think that there's somebody above him in the rankings that is available to him. So I was thinking maybe we give him to the winner of Stefan Struve versus Alexander Volkov. A little bit of it is selfish because Both of those guys have tall man syndrome. You know, they're like 7 foot tall. They stand super tall. And Mark's left hook and overhand right is just dynamite on those tall. Oh, he already beat Stefan Struve. So if Volkov beats Struve, he should fight Mark Hunt. That would be fun. I just like Mark Hunt knocking out those tall dudes because they got the tall man syndrome, stand super tall, overhand right. Right, Iman. I was thinking that too. Velasquez was cage side. Could that mean something? They were probably going to mean something if it was Derek Lewis, to be honest with you, but not for Mark Hunt because, you know, they're in a legal battle with Mark Hunt. So it probably wasn't set up for Mark. It was probably set up. Cain Velasquez was probably there set up to fight Derek Lewis if Lewis won tonight in a number one contender fight. That's probably what was going to go on. Maybe Cain Velasquez was just there as a fan. I don't really know. But anyway, I was ultra impressed tonight with Hunt's mobility. Was just crazy good. And with there's a few comments about Hunt's chin. You know, people question his chin. I question his chin a little bit, but even though Lewis did land a few hard strikes, John Gooden said they were glancing, and Brian Stan responded like, well, even if it's glancing, it could knock anyone out. But I don't think Mark was ever landed on flush by Derek Lewis. I really don't. I don't think Lewis landed a flush shot on him. Maybe an uppercut, but so his chin did hold up pretty well. Man, that guy is so calm in the octagon. I'm not that calm doing this video. And he's in there fighting somebody for a prize, could possibly lose his life, you know. Marcus Zachary says the leg of Hunt was done. So very early on, Derek Lewis went for some low kicks to maybe limit the mobility of Mark Hunt so he couldn't press him back to the fence. And Mark started checking them. As soon as he started checking them, the same spot on his left leg that started bleeding when he fought Alistair Overeem checking some leg kicks started bleeding profusely again. I don't know if his leg is done, but he obviously has some like Diaz brothers scar tissue type of shit going on, right? If it just bleeds so easily, it opens up with without much force to it. So Steve Kovanen says Hunt versus JDS. That's what I would like, but the rematch, because they've already fought and JDS knocked him out with that spinning wheel kick or whatever. But JDS is dwindling, and tonight Hunt looked better than ever. So I would like that fight, but I think JDS is booked against Francis Ngannou. Man, I love everybody against Francis Ngannou. I mean, those are fights I want to see. I don't know what's next for Mark. I don't know how many fights he has left on his contract. Really, I think his next thing is to figure out this legal battle with the UFC. Let's talk about some other fights if we can, guys. Let's move down and talk about Derek Brunson versus Dan Kelly. Derek Brunson got a KO from a punch at 116 of round number 1. Comes out, they touch gloves, they circle a bit. They just do some circling. Then all of a sudden, Brunson throws a double jab. He's southpaw. Both guys are southpaw. Double jab. He wasn't even trying to hit Dan. Just threw it out there twice. Left hand over the top, and you could see the snarl on Derek Brunson's face. Oh, shit, yeah, here comes that left hand. And yeah, wham! And it knocked Dan Kelly to the ground super early. Brunson wants the Anderson Silva rematch. You're not going to get it, dude. Anderson Silva's not going to grant you the rematch. Speaking of which, let me find my video. Look at this. This is dope. I got this from MMA History Today. This came here in the mail today. This is the Spider's Web. They do the art of fighting. I picked that up today. Got it in a poster. It's all of Anderson Silva's finishes in the UFC, and then over to the side, there's a description, like a little description of every fight that he was in, that he had a finish in. Really, really cool stuff. And this is not a paid endorsement. I just think it's really awesome. What's next for Derek Brunson? I was looking at the rankings, and well, I forget who made the comment. Somebody on my personal Facebook page made the comment. Let me see if I can find him. Ricky Berghughes said Chris Weidman versus Derek Brunson. That'd be a lot of fun. I mean, I kind of want to give Weidman a more of a softball than that, but that'd be a fun fight. I suggested Derek Brunson versus David Branch. You know, David Branch is coming off that victory over Krzysztof Jacare. David has a lot of good wrestling. Derek has some good wrestling. It'd be an interesting stylistic matchup. The timing of their respective fights would be really fun. But Derek, he could move up. I think that he should fight David Branch or maybe Chris Weidman. That would be all right. What do you guys think? Jack Mooney says Gastelum. I got a perfect pick too, Adam. So well done, Bahani. I don't know what you're saying, man, but well done. So most people probably picked Derek Brunson via KO or TKO in round number 1. I mean, it was the most picked. If you're not on Verdict, playing Verdict MMA, it's an app. You just go to the app store and search Verdict MMA. You make your picks, confidence level, and then you can score the fights, and you can see what your friends scored the fights live. It's really fun. Right, Weidman is booked versus Gastelum. So yeah, I think David Branch versus Derek Brunson. So yeah, I made the right choice in the first place. Not a lot to talk about in that fight. Dan Kelly, what's next for him? I don't know, but I want to keep giving him guys at the lower tier of the middleweight division. I enjoy watching him compete. I was kind of sad that he just got obliterated tonight. Like the guy, respectful guy, and who doesn't like to see an old man do the damn thing and do it successfully a lot of the time. Lightweight fight, Dan the Hangman Hooker versus Ross the Real Deal Pearson. The entire fight, Ross was struggling with the length of Hooker. Hooker was pawing that jab out there. And I forgot to tell you guys, I accidentally closed. I write notes as each fight goes on so I can tell you about them a little bit more articulately and so I can remember them better. I accidentally closed out of it and didn't save it, so I'm a dumbass for that. Try to go off memory. Hooker, Ross was not able to close the distance on Hooker. Hooker was landing a lot of low kicks, a lot of high kicks. Mostly it was a jab. Ross was trying to close the distance with a left hook, then like the gator roll thing, kind of like Bullrog does on Street Fighter, and also what Mike Tyson does, the little roll, left hook roll, and then try to come in with the right to close the distance. And he was doing that a lot. And similar to, not exactly the same thing as Barboza versus Benyel Dariush, or I forget who the next one was after that. But he was doing it a lot, and he does it in all of his fights. So Hooker came in here with a solid game plan. Ross Pearson threw that left hook, goes to roll. Hooker, bam, right knee to the face. His mouthpiece flew probably into the stratosphere. I don't know. It was orange and very visible. Just flew right up there. Wonderful performance from Dan the Hangman Hooker. Ross Pearson is now on a 4-fight losing streak. What's next for him? Retirement or... Eamon Scott says Pearson versus Held in a contract versus contract fight. Maybe in the UFC. Maybe, or not the UFC, maybe in Bellator, but both guys are gone, so. Pearson, he got lucky to get this fight. He was already on a losing streak. He was lucky to get this one. Pearson to retire, and if he doesn't want to retire, he needs to go to Bellator. Jeffreden Ishmael, hello from Malaysia. Hey, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. What's next for Dan Hooker? Francisco Trinaldo. I would like to see that. Hooker has some grappling ability. He has that length. He showed off some power tonight, and he showed off some fight IQ. Francisco Trinaldo's coming off that loss to Kevin Lee, but up until he got finished by Kevin Lee, was showing some really good stuff. And that's like he's number 15 in the lightweight division. So Hooker wants to get into the top 15. I think he fight number 15, and that'd be a fun fight, I think. Dan Hooker versus Francisco Trinaldo. Book it. I think that's... What do you guys think? Martin Lasso Troya says that he was expecting Hunt to retire. Lewis was a surprise. Yeah, that was... Scott Poppleton says, breaking news. Ross Pearson's mouthpiece has confirmed that the earth is round. Thank goodness. Well, at least some good came out of that for Ross Pearson. The earth is indeed round. Good one, Scott. Martin Lasso, I was expecting Hunt to retire. Lewis was a surprise. Yeah, we've talked about that already. I thought Hunt was about to as well. He said that maybe it could be done for him. Maybe he could retire, but he says since we're going to keep going, he wants somebody above him. I think he deserves it, but there's really nobody for him to fight above him, so he's going to have to take a step back. Travis Brown versus Mark Hunt would be a fun fight. Again, because of the tall man syndrome. I think that Mark Hunt handily beats Travis Brown, probably. Tim Johnson. And how crazy is it that Mark Hunt is 13-11, 1-1? That's not a very good record, but he's obviously a very, very skilled fighter. Extremely skilled fighter. Man, that boy can kick high. Name Yunin says about Derek Lewis. I mean, that shit was impressive, but I think it made him hurt his back and also made him gas out super quick. So, yeah, oh, take that, Edgy Bravo. The Earth is round. I think Eddie Bravo just likes to cause a ruckus. I think that's really Eddie Bravo's thing. Anyway, let's keep moving down this card. How do they say that? Iwan Cutelaba versus Henrique da Silva. This fight ended 22 seconds into the very first round. I knew Henrique da Silva started slow, but I forgot what the punching combination that did this. Okay, I think it was a short left hook. They came into a clinch. Iwan hurt da Silva with a left hook, and then as Henrique was trying to really get him in the clinch, he hit him with a right, which would be like a wide right or a right hook, kind of shovel uppercut thing. You know, it was like an uppercut, but it came at kind of a wide angle and hit da Silva and dropped him, and then he finished it with some brutal ground and pound. Impressive stuff from Cutelaba, and I was thinking about what is next for that man. He's not in the top 15 of the light heavyweight division. Tyson Pedro was there tonight. Tyson Pedro is a local guy. He's healing up a hand injury. But I would like to see Cutelaba versus Tyson Pedro. I don't know if they would make that fight because they're both kind of young dudes who could have a lot of hype in the future. So maybe they don't want to kill two prospects with one fight. But damn it, wouldn't you love to watch Tyson Pedro versus Iwan Cutelaba? And if that's not something that we're going to do, let Cutelaba knock John Vellante out. That'd be fun as shit. Or Jan Blachowicz. I think that I would favor Cutelaba over Vellante and Blachowicz. But Pedro, that'd be a tough one because Iwan could not fall back on his wrestling with Pedro because that guy has high-level jiu-jitsu. In Tyson Pedro's last fight in the UFC against the Bear Jew, Paul Craig went for a head and arm throw against a 205-pound man, and it failed miserably. And it's like, don't try to head and arm throw 205-pound men, dumbass. Well, don't try to head and arm throw 125-pound men either, because Tim Elliott tried to do that, missed it. Ben Wen took his back, choked him out via rear naked choke at 49 seconds of the very first round. We're going to give Tim Elliott a little break for his mistake, because it was apparent that the first exchange, they come out, touch gloves, circle out, Ben Wen head kicks the shit out of Tim Elliott. Tim's probably visibly rocked. Then Ben hit Tim with a 1-2 that landed flush. And then, so Tim goes to change level. He's like, not going to fucking strike anymore. Don't want to do this shit. Goes to change levels to take Ben down. And Ben meets him with a similar knee to what Dan Hooker did to Ross Pearson. Right knee, right to Tim Elliott's face. Tim's on Queer Street. Goes for the head and arm throw. And Ben takes his back, chokes him out, rear naked choke, 49 seconds into the first round. Tim Elliott didn't remember the scrambles at all, his corner said. James Krause said that evidently that Tim didn't remember it. Wow, impressive performance from Ben Wen. So what's next for Mr. 10? Yes, Jack Mooney said one of my options. Josh Rochelle says that Tim Elliott's my favorite fighter. He's not my favorite fighter. I do enjoy watching him. I have one favorite fighter only, and he's the only favorite fighter I'm ever going to have for the rest of my life. That's Anderson the Spider Silva. I do like Tim Elliott, though, but I'm not sad at all that he lost. Hayes is fighting Henry Cejudo. I was thinking with Ben Wen, we give him Joseph Benavidez. He was originally supposed to fight Joseph Benavidez. Benavidez has a knee injury. Depending on his how soon he can return to the octagon, just rebook that fight. Ben Wen, Joseph Benavidez. If Benavidez is out too long for that injury, then I say we give Ben 10 to. I mean, you could do him like something like Jussier Formiga. That'd be fun. Yeah, it was just in March that Jussier lost to Ray Borg. Or I wanted him to fight Wilson Hayes, but you're saying that Wilson Hayes is. Yeah, even Scott just rebooked Benavidez with Ben Wen. Ray Borg is going to fight Mighty Mouse next if Mighty Mouse doesn't fight TJ Dillashaw, and it doesn't seem like TJ Dillashaw and Mighty Mouse is going to happen. Doesn't feel like that's going to go down. Let's keep going down the card. Alexander Volkanovski versus Mizuto Hirota. Honestly, the fight wasn't that exciting. Volkanovski just tooled up on Hirota on the feet, took him down a couple times. Hirota couldn't get the takedowns. Hirota showed a lot of durability. Volkanovski showed that he has some pretty good striking to put on top of his pretty good wrestling repertoire. But overall, the fight wasn't that awesome. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was mostly playing Rocket League during that fight. And I started watching at the beginning. I'm like, it's not going to be exciting. Start up a game of Rocket League, but that's what went down. Shane, oh God, yes. Oh yes. Jack Mooney says Volkanovski versus Shane Burgos. I'm picking Shane Burgos to win that fight, but Volkanovski might come in there with a bunch of hype. Yeah, Burgos. That wasn't too long ago that he had a really, really impressive performance, right? That was like 2 weeks ago. Billy Johnson says, Lewis is done, who will Hunt fight next? I think we've went over that a couple times. I don't really want to rehash it a bunch. I'd like to see him fight JDS again. Probably not going to happen, so I want him to fight Travis Brown or Alexander Volkov. Moving down. Oh, that's good. Vince from Hell Pichel versus Damian Brown. We've talked a couple of times tonight about a fighter doing a certain thing and his opponent adapting to that certain thing, countering that certain thing viciously, violently. One thing going into this fight, I picked Damian Brown like a dumbass. I thought he was going to win. But one thing I was scared about picking Damian Brown because he doesn't watch film. He didn't watch much film on Vince Pichel. Vince Pichel watched a shitload of film on Damian Brown, knew what he was doing. So they come into these striking exchanges, they come to the center. If Vince didn't throw first, Brown would throw like a flurry of strikes. Like, yeah, coming right at him. Like, he doesn't make the noise, but kind of like Holly Holm. You know, a blitz in strike style, kind of like Lyoto Machida, you know, a blitz in there. He did it a few times, and Vince would just back away from it. Back away, circle out. Back away, circle out. Finally, he countered it with, I think, I wrote my goddamn notes. I believe it was like it was like a wide right mixed with an uppercut, so I call it a shovel punch. Bam! Knocked Damian Brown out, crumbled him, looked like Gumby. He took the batteries out of a... Derek Chambers, how what? Thanks for joining me. I don't know what you're saying how to. But, let's put this screen over here. So, yeah, Vince Pichel comes back with a vengeance. Incredible performance. And now the other fights that happened before that mostly sucked. Luke Jumu put on a striking performance in round 2 and 3 from Dominic Steele. Dom Steele got tired, and he was just looking for some shitbox takedowns. Ricky Berghughes wants to get to the bonuses. All right, let's get to the bonuses before we talk about these other fights that don't really matter. Well, I think Ben Wen has to get 50 grand. I think Iwan Kutalaba has to get 50 grand. I think Dan Hooker has to get 50 grand. So there's 3. And then it's just, oh my gosh, and Vince Pichel deserves 50 grand. Mark Hunt deserves 50 grand. Derek Brunson deserves 50 grand. So we got 6 that are deserving. How do we dwindle it down to just 4? What do you guys think? Tell me who you think should get bonuses, and then I'll look up the real ones here in a second. I'm gonna give mine to Ben Wen, Kutalaba, Hooker, and they're probably not giving Mark Hunt a bonus because he's suing them. And Vince Pichel. So Vince Pichel, Dan Hooker, Kutalaba, and Ben Wen. Brunson doesn't get one because, well, everyone thought that was going to happen, and it's less exciting when people do exactly what you think they're going to do. And also, I'm a little bit sad that he knocked out Judo Dan, Old Man Dan. That's not nice, bro. Yeah. Okay, back to Jumu versus Dominic Steele. So non-stop action-packed Dominic Steele got tired after the first round, and his action stopped. He was trying to go for some shitbox takedowns against the fence. Jumu was having none of that shit, and Jumu was lighting him up. I saw a bunch of tweets. A few people said that Dom Steele has a great chin. A few people said Dom Steele has a terrible chin. I think Dom Steele has a terrible chin, but he's so fit that he recovers quickly. So it's not It's not that he's very durable. It's that he recovers quickly. Like one strike wobbled him all over the place. But then he's just like back to normal. So it's not it's not about a great chin. It's about recovering quickly. Luke Jumu, he was very emotional in the cage afterward. He was happy that the fight fans asked for him to be in the UFC. He got there. He put on a really good performance. What's next for him? Was he the guy? No. Alexander Volkanovski, moving back to that. After he beat Mizuto Hirota, Brian Stann says, what do you want next? And he said, well, there's all these bad guys in the UFC now. People trying to be bad guys. Well, I'm a good guy. Just feed me the bad guys. I get it. You're trying to go for a gimmick, but I thought it failed, and that's a shitty gimmick, bro. But, yeah, cheer for the good guys. DC's a good guy, and that's not working out well for him, and you did a shitbox version of it. But sorry, Volkanovski. Jumu, it was an emotional, win for him. It was emotional in the octagon and everything. John Moraga, Ashkan Mokhtarian. Wow, that was a horrible, horrible fight. So, Moraga, he went for a guillotine early in round 1, was unable to get it, but then from that point on, he just took down Mokhtarian and then didn't do anything. So he had him dead to rights. He got a 30-25 on one of the judges' scorecards. A 30-25. That is awful, right? That is 2 10-8s. Probably could have got 3 10-8s. But he went for some sloppy submission attempts, but didn't really do anything else. He had him in full mount and didn't rain down some ground and pound. I feel like John Moraga had ample opportunity to finish Ashkan Mokhtarian, but didn't do it. So, congratulations on the win. Incredibly dominant performance. You had every opportunity in the world to finish him, and you didn't, John Moraga. And I thought it was kind of a shitty performance. Great performance, but shitty at the same time because he could have got the finish. Zach Otto, Kichi Kunumoto. I don't know how it was a split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28 in favor of Zach Otto. The fight wasn't great. I didn't watch this one much either. So I don't want to talk about it. JJ Aldrich, Chan Mi, Jian. The most memorable part of that fight was Chan Mi screaming between rounds. They said it was a war cry or something, but it's like, holy shit, that girl has the highest pitched voice imaginable. It was so high pitched, it was almost not audible to the human ear, like a dog whistle. Oof! And she was clearly losing. She had the fight was basically Aldridge controlled the pace the whole time. Got the better of the striking, but Chan Mi did great at the end of the second round when she just decided to start brawling. She's like, "Fuck it, throwing down. We're gonna brawl in this motherfucker." And she had a little success, but other than that, she did nothing. So. That's the entire fight night. Let me see what the real bonuses are, and then I've got one more question I see, and I'll get back to that. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I love hanging out with you guys. If you want to listen to the show later on, maybe help you get through your workday, you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes. I want to get on Stitcher, Podcast Addict, a lot of places. Just tell me where your favorite podcast place is, and I'll put us there, and you can listen to it to help maybe get through your workday. The official bonuses: Fight of the Night, Hunt, Lewis. Performance bonuses go to Wen and Hooker. Oh, so that's nice. They did give Mark Hunt a Fight of the Night bonus, or a $50,000 bonus. Wow. I'm impressed. Way to go, UFC. Being the bigger man a little bit there. I'm still not giving that the Fight of the Night because it was one-sided the whole time, and for me, Fight of the Night personally needs ebbs. It needs flows. Needs ebbs and flows. There was none. It was Mark Hunt putting on a striking clinic against an inferior striker, basically. How about John M. versus Ben 10? Who are you talking about? John M. Flyweight division. John Moraga versus Ben 10? No way. Ben 10 would whoop the shit out of John Moraga. If that's the fight they make, put the house on Ben 10. Put the house on Ben 10. How does Kutilaba not get a $50K? Yeah, I don't know either, man. You get a 22-second knockout, you deserve $50,000. Let's, they better give him a locker room bonus. They better give him a discretionary bonus or something, because that man deserves it. 22-second knockout? Give that man some extra money. For sure. For sure. Quickly, we can look up next week's card and maybe get an idea of what's going on there before we get out of here. Main event, Holly Holm, Betcha Kohea. Man, I don't think I could care about that fight less. Of course, I'll have to make a video for Mania, picking who I think is going to win, but I couldn't really give a shit less. I'll tell you right now, I'm picking Holly Holm. They both have similar styles, but Holly Holm has a reach advantage. But I don't care. Co-main event, Marcin Tybura is going to knock out Andrei Arlovsky. Welterweight fight, Dong Young Kim versus Colby Covington. Holy shit, that has potential to be a super boring fight. Because Chaos Colby is one of the most boring fighters in the world. He's got some Jared Rochal stuff. He's going to bump and grind. Super fun fight, welterweight division. Rafael Dos Anjos is making his welterweight debut against Tarek Safadine. I'm picking Dos Anjos off the top of my head. Takanori Gomi still doing the damn thing. Going to fight John Tuck. Woo! Those are a couple of guys that are on everyone's fades lists. Fade them both to the moon. Pick John Tuck, though, because he's younger than Takanori Gomi. Cyril Asker versus Walt Harris. Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres versus Ronaldo Gabriel Dai. I love watching Bruce Leroy do the damn thing. Justin Scoggins versus Oka Sasaki. Oh, that's going to be fun as fuck. Flyweight fight. Couple of long, lengthy dudes that have really good jiu-jitsu and lengthy striking. Fun. Yes, that's going to be a good one. Welterweight fight, Li Jingliang versus Frank Camacho. Kwan Ho Kwak versus Russell Doan. Pass. Noki Inoue versus Carlos John de Tomas. Pass. Ji Yeon Kim versus Lucy Pudilova. Pass. So there it is. Didn't Jason Knight get subbed in for the Korean Zombie? Did he? I haven't seen that. Holly will get knocked out? No way. I don't believe that. Off the top. Stinker card, bring on UFC 213. Yeah, man. And then in the following week, we got a Sunday card. That's Chiesa versus Lee. Off the top, I'm picking Chiesa. Tim Bosch versus Johnny Hendricks. That's going to be a lot of fun. Picking Johnny Hendricks. Felice Herrig versus Justine Kish. Don't care. Joaquin Christensen versus Dominic Reyes. Don't care. Tim Means versus Alex Garcia. Tim Means. BJ Penn. Dennis Seaver. Dennis Seaver. Clay Guida. Eric Koch. Eric Koch. Carla Esparza. Marina Moroz. That'll be a fun one. But, yeah, that pretty much does it. You guys got any more questions, or should we get the hell out of here? Yep. Alright. Let's get out of here. Oh, did I give my grade on the card? C. From A to F, if I were voting with you cats, I would give it a C. Because it's definitely not an A worthy, maybe a B minus worthy, but the middle of this card was really good. The last two fights were not that good. Well, Derek Brunson knocking out Kelly, kind of exciting, but again, no ebbs, no flows. Jack Mooney, Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Soldier Gato Romero. Off the top of my head, who wins? Robert Whittaker is gonna either decision. Well, it's a 5-round fight. I think Robert Whittaker TKOs Romero. The reason being, Whittaker's pace is going to be something that Romero is not used to dealing with. Romero likes to take long sections of time off. Even in a lot of his wins recently, he's lost the first 2 rounds, then wins with a flash knockout all of a sudden. I don't think he's going to do that to Whittaker. And Romero, he's got them crazy takedowns where he can just like do an ankle pick and get him down all of a sudden. How incredible is Robert Whittaker's takedown defense? So I don't think Romero's going to have that in his back pocket in order to get that victory. So, yeah, man, I think there's too many things on Whittaker's side that are going to get him this W. I want Romero to win, though, because I want Romero to knock out Michael Bisping. But I'm not here to choose who I want to win. I'm here to make picks, I guess. And like Ryan Bailey says, Whittaker's defense is too good, and I think he's going to finish Yoel Romero. Unless Romero cheats again, which he will, but I factored that in to my pick, and I'm still going with Whittaker. Pettis Miller. Because I think Pettis is faded. I think ever since Pettis got the belt from Benson Henderson a couple of years back, I think, you know, his level of fame hit like a maximum, hit a peak. And he's like, fuck it, man. I've got money. I've been the champion of the UFC, and I think he's done trying hard. And he's just so hesitant. He doesn't seem to have the pop. He's going for single strike finishes, and you can't just assume you're going to get single strike finishes. And Miller, post Lyme disease? Post Lyme disease, Miller has been looking fantastic. And almost all of Pettis' victories, or most of Pettis' victories, are via submission. What's Miller best at? Jiu-jitsu. And his striking's been looking really good. So off the top of my head, I think Miller's going to be the underdog, and that'll be an underdog pick. What do you guys think? And that's just off the top. Just off memory. Of course, I like to do film study before I would do a video actually picking it, where I would title, "This is my pick for this fight." I would do a lot of research, because I can't just do it off the top of my head, those type of videos, but that's my general opinion. And Ryan Bailey says Miller has a crazy chin. Yeah, the guy's durable. He's a gritty son of a bitch. But he is susceptible to the body kicks like Donald Cerrone did. But they're both southpaws, right? So Pettis, when he fights out of southpaw, that body kick, the liver kick with his left leg, the power shot, could hurt Miller. Man, what a fun fight. But yeah, my initial pick is going to be Miller. What a fun fight, though. That's some fun shit. Yeah, I would vote for this for UFC Fight Night 110 to get a C from A to F, because the last two weren't that great. TKO exhaustion is what the official main event was. Jeez Louise. But Hooker, Kutilaba, Benwen, Volkanovski, Pichel, those were all good. But pacing was awful. Danny Morales wants to see Pettis go to Bellator because he shouldn't be in the UFC anymore, basically. I'm paraphrasing. I just don't think he has the fire, the desire to do it anymore. And I think Miller has the desire still. And that's what I'm siding with. Josh Rochelle asks, is the 125-pound female division a real thing or no? Yeah, dude, I haven't seen yet. They had the tryouts to get on the next season of The Ultimate Fighter, which is going to be 125-pound women. There were a lot of big names there. The Happy Warrior was there. Lauren Murphy was there. Andrea Lee wasn't there, but gosh darn it, I don't think she could make weight consistently. But I want if we have a 125-pound division in the UFC for women, which we're gonna, I want to see Andrea KGB Lee in there because she's an exciting fighter to watch. But that does it, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Please like my Facebook page. I would really appreciate it. I'm on the road to 500. Josh, Dana said, well, rule number one of being a fight fan is you do not trust Dana White. Rule number two is you don't trust Dana White. And after he said that, then they had the official tryouts. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging out, Scott. Thanks for hanging out, everyone else. Like my page. Subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever else. And I'll see you. I'm going to do Fight Nerds again on Monday on the Facebook page for MMA Mania, where we will do preview Care Don't Care for the next card and all of that jazz. Go over some recent news. So look forward to that on Monday at about 8:30 Eastern. Namaste.